Hello, my name is Father Dimitri, and I'm here in Lakeland, Florida. Christ is risen. So today we celebrate the woman at the well, or the Samaritan woman at the well, where Jesus has a conversation with this woman, and while he's talking to her, he actually uncovers a lot of what she had done in her life. And it's interesting to me the statement that she makes, he told me everything I ever did. So when he tells her that, she actually runs off down into the city and tells everyone as a witness. But I want to take a step back. And the interesting thing I find is that where Jesus was leaned up against a well that Jacob had dug way back when Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and all of them that were alive. It had been hundreds of years since they had been alive, and that well was still producing water. And she would go out there every day in the middle of the day because she wasn't accepted, and she would go get water, and Jesus was out there waiting for her. But the well itself is significant because the well is something that Jacob dug after he had wrestled with God. Jacob really wasn't that great of a guy. Jacob really wasn't that person that you would actually look up to. He was a deceiver and he was a manipulator. And really, he wasn't that great of a guy, like I said. But nonetheless, he had something that he needed to do in his life. And he was preparing to meet his brother Esau after he had manipulated him out of his birthright. And the night before, he begins to wrestle God. God comes to Jacob and they begin to wrestle with each other. And as they're wrestling with each other, the angel or God tells him to let him go. And as soon as Jacob figures out who he is, he says, "No, I'm not going to let you go until you give me your blessing." So I apologize. Jacob was very persistent in not letting him go. He grabbed onto him with all of his heart, with all of his might, and he wrestled with him until he got his blessing. And as a reward, he got his blessing, but he also pushed out his hip so that every day of his life, he received a notice that he had wrestled with God, but was successful with God. But later on, we have this woman at the well, and the woman at the well is speaking to Jesus, who now was not in heaven, but now was present in front of her. And just like God wrestling with Jacob, he begins to wrestle with her using the words. And Jesus tells her that he has the living water, he has what she needs to make something different out of her life, to be forgiven and to become the woman that she needs to be. And she starts to walk away, but Jesus is persistent. He wouldn't let her go. The table was turned, and he told her that she had been married 5 times, that she had 5 spouses, and even the person she was with now wasn't even her husband. And when she heard this, she turned to him and had a conversation with him, and she found out that he was the Messiah. As soon as she found out, she is the one that ran down. But Jesus would not let her go until she received the blessing. It was kind of an opposite that happened with Jacob, right? So she went down and she became one of the first witnesses in the town of Samaria and brought a ton of people to their salvation. How easy it is for us to read that story, but it's very hard sometimes for us to be the witness, for us to be the person that accepts what Christ has to tell us. And when she allowed Christ to reflect within her, everything I ever did became a part of her, and she accepted the forgiveness and ran down and told all the people, and so many people became saved by her witness. So as Christians, as we go out into the world, we are to become those witnesses. We are to go out and tell all the people in the world that Jesus has done everything for us. And if we truly want to reflect on ourselves, He will tell us everything that we ever did. So may the Lord bless you and protect you and keep each one of you safe. And I hope you are all well. Christ is risen.